Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're going to watch a version of Frankenstein from 1984 starring Carrie Fisher and David Warner. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with some poor fellow getting hanged. Dr. Frankenstein.
The dream I'd been pursuing was about to become reality. I, Victor Frankenstein, stood on the brink of the greatest achievement known to man.
Played by Robert Powell.
Wasted my time yet again.
Of course, Dr. Frankenstein needs dead bodies.
Broken. It's useless to me.
No, sir. The knot was bungled. He strangled to death.
This is the guy who was hanged earlier.
Hey, sir. So? What do you suppose he does with these bodies? Perhaps he cuts them up and feeds them to his dogs.
It's quite simple.
Carrie Fisher plays Elizabeth. That is the fiancée of Mr. Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein's little brother, I believe, William. This is their friend Henry.
Wonderful to see you.
Elizabeth, you're looking lovelier than ever.
How was your journey?
Very long, but I came just as soon as I was...
Sometimes he's loving and friendly, and other times remote, unapproachable. You know our wedding plans have been postponed.
Yes.
2 whole weeks. I only asked because I love you.
It won't be for much longer. I'm nearly finished.
Henry!
Yes, of course.
Why is he leaving the dinner table? Because his grave-robbing buddies have brought him another fresh kill. Well, fresh dead body, anyway.
You're late. There's a moment. Why? Your oath, Henry. To repeat nothing of what I am about to say. Yes. One word. I have reason to believe that I am capable of reanimating life. I think I have discovered the very cause of life itself. Intelligent man.
There's the brain.
From him at the moment of his death and kept alive through electrical induction. All I've been waiting for is a proper vessel.
Vessel.
Yes, a body. It was delivered to me here tonight. You can help me with the implantation.
He's a little unsure, but Henry does agree to help him with this process. That monster there is actually played by David Warner. And with a little zap. Did it work?
It's alive, Henry. I can feel a pulse. Oh, my God. The man is alive!
However, it doesn't last. However, wouldn't you know it, a bolt of lightning suddenly hits. I think that'll have an effect on the monster. Well, of course it does, but the monster doesn't stick around. He bolts out of that castle. They end up chasing him a bit. And he falls into the river. And he's washed away and believed lost. The next day, though, the monster finds a family. They're not having it. He then wanders into the home of DeLacy, played by Sir John Gielgud. He's blind.
Give me your hands. No, don't be afraid. My hands are as close as yours. That's better.
He's going to help him.
Searched for him in vain. It was as if he'd disappeared without a trace. Henry was convinced he'd been taken by the storm. Lost. Gone forever.
Anyway, some time passes.
I had a temporary setback, that's all.
So you intend to start again?
Meanwhile,
And now
DeLacy has taught the monster how to speak and read.
of the tree of life and eat and live forever.
Yes, that's very good. Go on.
Therefore, the Lord God.
Remember those two grave robbers from earlier? Well, they're thieves too. They don't just steal people though. They also plan to break into Delancey's place. And here they go.
What? Where is it, old man? I tell you, I've nothing. Where is it?
And they end up killing him too. Poor DeLacy.
You are dead. Frankenstein.
The monster is upset that they killed his friend. And he axes them both.
House over there.
William encounters the creature.
Who are you? Your face. Has it been burnt or something?
He and William become friends, but the monster doesn't know his own strength and squeezes him too hard. And that's not going to end well. This other woman, Justine, from the house, discovers William dead. Now a chase ensues when she runs from the creature. I don't think he meant any harm to her, though. Nonetheless, she falls off a cliff. To her death. The creature makes his way to Frankenstein's castle.
Said your name.
Who said my name?
The boy. The man. He said your name. He called. You must, for me, create a companion.
He's lonely.
You are the creator. No, it's not possible. You will create a companion for me, please.
Meanwhile, back out in the woods, Henry discovers Justine's body. He liked her.
What have you done?
I am responsible for the death of my own brother.
No!
Heard her scream. I tried to help her.
You know why I've come here, don't you?
You can make her live again. So will you. Hear me, Frankenstein. I will have my revenge. Scream!
And by revenge, he figures if I'm gonna be alone, then Dr. Frankenstein's gonna be alone too. And he kills Princess Leia.
Why? I don't understand. Why? You and I together. Help me.
In the only way I can. You who have no soul will rest in peace. I am damned forever.
Kind of an ambiguous ending there. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's the movie. All right, let's talk about Frankenstein. Everybody's heard about Frankenstein, but have you heard of this version from 1984, which is a made-for-television, actually I should say made-for UK television version of the classic Mary Shelley story. So what we have here is Robert Powell as Dr. Frankenstein, Elizabeth, which is his fiancée, played by Carrie Fisher. We have Sir John Gielgud in this, and of course David Warner as the monster. Now, it's a typical story, but it's a slightly different take on it. Frankenstein lives, I guess it's a castle, it's a big house, a mansion, I don't know, whatever it is, but he's been a little distant to his fiancée because he's been working forever on this project, and he's kind of just not paying enough attention to his family at this point. He's buying bodies from these grave stealer people, and he's trying to bring a body back to life with this brain he has. So eventually he does it. He pulls it off, but then the monster dies almost immediately. But then a bolt of lightning hits, and suddenly the monster comes alive again. And it's David Warner, and David Warner flees the castle, and he's gone. And he fell over into this river, and they thought that he was gone, or I should say he thought that he was gone, that he was just gone for good, and they didn't hear from the monster for a long time. I don't know, like months passed or something. Turns out, though, the monster showed up on the doorstep of Sir John Gielgud, who is a blind man. The blind man takes him in and teaches him. They become friends. He teaches him how to read and to speak. So in this movie, our monster learns to talk, and he's talking, and he's fairly fluent. You can tell it's a little rough, but he's getting along, and he's reading through these books and stuff, and he's a well-rounded thing. His face is all messed up because the body was of this criminal who had been hung earlier. Eventually, these two thieves come in. I think it may have been the same two grave robbers. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was. They come in to steal or to rob Sir John Gielgud, and they recognize the monster, and they kill John Gielgud, and then and then the monster kills the two of them. Then he doesn't know what to do. You killed my friend. He's all upset, so he wanders off, and he ends up finding this. I think it's the younger brother of Dr. Frankenstein, as well as this other woman who's living in the house, and he accidentally kills him. He kills the kid by hugging him and squishing him to death, and then the woman finds the body of the kid, and then she runs off and she falls off a cliff. So eventually the monster is really upset. He comes back in the castle and confronts Mr. Frankenstein and says, "This is your fault. You created me, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get my revenge. If it wasn't for you, my friend would be still alive." And then he goes after Carrie Fisher and kills her. And then he comes back to Dr. Frankenstein, and because he feels bad about killing Carrie Fisher, even though it was for revenge, he feels bad about it. And Frankenstein says, "Can you bring her back to life?" And then Dr. Frankenstein says something about, "I need to end this," or something like that. And then it seemed weird. The monster was kind of like kneeling down as if dying or something, but I don't think he was dying. Then he laid down, and the movie ended. So I don't know exactly what happened in that end. But anyway, the movie itself was a decent version. It's a slightly different version than the ones we're used to with Frankenstein. The creature was definitely a sympathetic figure in this one, probably even more so than like Boris Karloff's version. Very sympathetic. Plus, he's reading and learning, and he seems like he could be a decent human being, or a dead human being, whatever. But anyway, not a bad film. Very short film, about 75, 76 minutes or so. Like I said, made for British television, not available on DVD. I'll put a link down to the VHS tape if you're looking for it on Amazon. Now, this is also available on eBay, the VHS. Now, this is a burned DVD I made here, but there's two different versions of the VHS tape. One put out by Video Treasures, which is an EP speed copy, and while the video seems fine, the audio is shit. So you want to try to find the Lightning video version, which is where I copied this one from, where the audio and video is pretty good. So anyway, check it out. Leave some comments down below. It's Frankenstein, 1984. Watch it. Bye. It's a rare one.